support local businesses. You can only give from what you have. You can't give it out of an empty cup type thing. And we all should support local businesses from the ground up, grassroots, as it were, type of situations. I think that's one of the great things that we do talk about on almost every podcast.
Yeah, and I do think it's because of the world we live in. We have so much technology that there is this disconnect that I don't think was normally there. We live so much through our technology that the purchasing of stuff and everything is so out there rather than,
Right.
oh, I got to go get some shoes. I'm going to go down to the local cobbler. It doesn't fucking work like that anymore.
Totally. We are insular. Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to make lots of money if all you do is focus on your local area.
Yeah.
To make lots of money, you got to focus on lots of people.
Right.
That's
and
true.
just
Totally
like
true.
marketing in anything is you find a good deal on it, you purchase it from somewhere, and then you sell it somewhere else.
Well, and get good at selling people literal garbage.
That's the part that's really shitty about the infrastructure we have in place is it's so much easier to think you got a good deal and you're just buying shit. And then people, larger businesses, are saving money by buying a bunch of shit and then flooding that into the market. And that becomes a big part of
and somehow drop shipping became a thing, and that's literally, oh, here, let me buy or let me move garbage for garbage sellers. Like,
and
or they make parts for services. Even Apple has, but you have admitted to planned obsolescence, right? So, and not, I mean, I'm using an Apple device right now, not saying bad or good, but this is kind of one of those things where you gotta acknowledge it. Yeah, no shade, but acknowledging the fact that was a real thing for at least a point in time. And that is not even the worst case. You have these worst cases where they make a part for a thing, whether it be a controller for a gaming console or a part for your dishwasher, and those break after a certain period of time. They don't make it like they used to, really. You know what I mean? They don't make it sturdy so that it lasts for 10 years because then the consumer product...
They could make more money by selling you another one rather than selling you the part to fix it.
I just would have such
a bunch of parts in cars that have been switched out from metal to plastic for that literal same thing. Like the erosion of the plastic happens faster and you got to get it replaced every so many miles.
Totally. And then, they'll scream, oh, plastic is so horrible for the environment, but they'll keep doing it and people will keep buying them because they're cheaper because it's Walmart brand. Yeah, or sorry, Walmart. I'm just sending out Hyundai, Kia. Let's go.
Yeah, we're calling out the biggest.
Just like these are just names that I'm not saying these are bad cars. I would love to have a Honda or a Kia 2013, one of those white ones.
I'm gonna call out the biggest one out there. The English language. God damn it, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, we cheapen in words every year. We have some new cheaper words in 6, 7, and.
Are you talking about acronyms, or what do you mean? Like what?
I'm merely talking about the amalgam that is the English language because we are 6 different languages molded into one, and half of English doesn't make any sense by the logic of any other language in history.
Yeah. Well, there's irregular verbs and irregular words in every language, including Spanish. And Spanish is probably a little bit easier to learn. I think it's easier to learn Spanish than is English. It's even harder to learn like Russian or Mandarin, It's just there are formulas, but they don't.
It makes more sense. Their logic is far more sound than ours is.
Yes, but what my point is that there are irregular verbs and irregular words in every language, so it is hard to learn those
verbs. I'm talking about like letters don't mean the same thing, even though they're exactly the freaking same. English is crazy.
Yeah.
Good food. It's either good food or good food. It can't be good food. That doesn't make any sense.
Or the word red or read or red. It's the read or read the. Made a good read on.
I learned it when I was like 10 years old. But it's spell fish, GHOTI. That spells fish in English. The GH from enough, the f sound. The O as in women is the I sound. And the TI is in nation. GHOTI spells fish. It's stupid, but it actually does because English is insane.
Yeah, English is pretty crazy.
It's kind of fun to have it as my main language, though, because it is so confusing.
The only way you can actually properly use English is if you use it from childhood, because it's so backwards and crazy. And when people do learn it as a second language and they're really fluent and actually get the nuance of English, it's really impressive.
Yes, I agree with that for sure. English is probably one of the harder languages to learn in the world. Ayudar. Ayúdame. Which means help me in Spanish.
Well, that's like the whole thing about Lululemon. Actually, the reason why it's called Lululemon
What?
was because the owner, the guy who invented it, thought it would be hilarious for Asians to say Lululemon.
Really?
Jeez.
Yes, that's actually true, and it's hilarious.
I thought it was just all Asians. It's not.
No.
It's not
I mean,
the.
I mean,
I'm just
like, you could pick and go with the largest one, but
right. Right.
Yeah, phonetically,
There's so
the R's are and the L's being swapped out is a common one. I had 2 Chinese foreign exchange students, and that was one that was really difficult.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like Germans and constantly going.
Yeah, that's your guttural, whatever it's called, languages. Dutch has a little bit of that, or it's a lot of that.
Yeah,
actually.
but Dutch
Danish.
Dutch has like adopted way more English words.
Totally, and a little bit of French too. Yeah, and Belgian.
Yeah, I tried learning
dialects.
Chinese for a while. It is very
Mandarin,
difficult, not as
Mandarin.
Could we switch topics for just a second? I haven't looked it up yet because I've been reading and doing all this stuff. So I went on a date a couple nights ago, and this lady was telling me she works for a social services thing. She's taking some psychology classes. She's telling me this thing is dialectical behavioral therapy is something that's new, and they're gonna, instead of cognitive behavioral therapy, I want to know dialectical behavioral therapy. I wonder if she was gonna talking out her butthole or if that is a real thing that they're trying to implement.
DBT, real
DBT.
thing.
Let's go. What do we got? I honestly don't know anything about this.
I mean, I don't know. No, we're not going to read that. We're going to read an actual article, Cleveland Clinic.
Oh, okay.
Structural talk therapy that teaches skills to manage intense emotion and behaviors. Originally borderline personality disorder, but now used for depression, PTSD.
That is what we were. That is what we were talking about when it got brought up. So, how does it differ from CBT, cognitive?
Finding the right therapist is often time-consuming.
Truth.
Versus cognitive focuses on changing negative thought patterns and behaviors for issues like anxiety, depression, while DBT builds on CBT, adding acceptance, mindfulness, and radical change, making it ideal for severe emotional dysregulation.
All right, I got to look more into this. Like and subscribe. Put in the comments what you think about that. If you find anything new about it, I need to look into it more too. But I mean, I've heard of and studied a little bit of CBT.
Okay, so it says think CBT as changing thoughts and DBT as accepting emotions while changing behaviors through intensive skill training.
Wow, I need to.
So all that to say, take a goddamn deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, it's like when you. It's like when you tell your wife, "Hey, you know what? You just really need to calm down." It's kind of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because that's literally all you need to do is calm the fuck down.
Drink some water.
I don't say that to my wife because that doesn't help anything.
There we go.
I'm
so
aware.
Maybe you
but
wouldn't
it does
say
help
that
me when she says, "Take a deep breath." I go,
right.
All right, let's go.
So you're a sub. I get it. It's okay.
Wow.
He's a power bottom.
You have to breathe into it or you get injured.
We should make this like at least an 18 plus, 16 plus. You know what I mean? Because we do swear sometimes, innuendo.
No way we are for children.
Yeah, and then
18,
how do you
maybe even 21 plus? Because we do.
Can you rate stuff on YouTube and on platforms like that?
Yeah, you can make it adult.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, good. Because then you can put a tag on it, so then parents don't. You know what I mean?
Well, and basically, if you're not logged in or signed in, you can't watch the videos.
Because realistically, we're talking about stuff that would benefit a young adult and someone coming into young adulthood.
Totally, and we're not being explicit in many terms. You know, we might use like when we were saying the English language and the use of like red or a different. Like the word "fuck" you can use in so many different ways.
It might be the most versatile word.
Yeah, the most versatile word. But we do need to have some more structure. Right now, we're just playing around with it and going completely wild. And I don't mind
Speaking
that.
Of which,
and it could be entertaining for people, and they could be like, "Hey, talk about this subject or that subject. We'd like to hear on this and that."
Well, that's what I was. I was just at the store, and Roger, our buddy who sells things at the convenience store, he was saying, "Hey," I asked him, "What should we talk about?" Because I don't have any points to bring up at the moment. He was wanting to talk about the tax on the new tax on the Zins, And I was saying that's kind of BS by the government tax on the Zins because I think it's more of a money move than anything. Because if I'm not a nicotine guy, but if I was a nicotine guy, I mean, I'd probably be addicted to cigarettes for one. But
I mean,
a healthier
it's
version,
the sin tax. The sin tax is
right.
tobacco,
Well,
alcohol. I think
yeah, but it's a new one.
yeah.
That's a new one that's on top of that in the last few months. I think it has been. But like, why would you tax Zins more if it's such a sin? Because it's a healthier version than smoking cigarettes, in my opinion.
It doesn't matter. They sell so well that they want the tax revenue.
It's about the money.
I would say
you want to. The city of Philadelphia has a tax on sugar that doesn't exist anywhere except in Philadelphia.
Oh wow!
So like you can literally, I can drive across the street and like get sugary snacks for $1 less per item than in the city.
That's
wild. I do that because I don't really eat.
I don't actually.
But
I don't mind that.
Crazy
because it kind of deters you from buying sugar.
But I actually completely agree with it. But
yeah, but
I wish that money would go, to fund good things, not the government.
That's something I've been talking about. All sorts of people.
So the problem I have with the Zin taxes is that it's something that people are using to help them get away from smoking cigarettes. So to tax that and to be harder on that is kind of fucked up, and seems like it's almost like the tobacco companies are like, please make it happen.
Well,
the state will benefit, and then people will give up and go back to smoking cigarettes.
We know from the oil industry, the cigarette industry, throughout all of history, they don't care as much about being socially responsible. They care about the shareholder bottom line, the shareholder value. They're raising the stakes, and it's going to go up and up and up. That's all they want, is to increase their thing. They don't care if however many people that they don't know die, however many. I'm not going to say there's countries involved with the whole genocide thing going on, or the different wars going on. A lot of people don't care about the lives of others, nor do they care about the health of others. They make the money off of it. Their lives can be better. It's for that's it. And that's not, I'm not anti-capitalist, but it is like, we can be socially responsible on one hand and capitalist free market on the other. We can
also be capitalist and be beneficial to the world. The reason the cigarette companies don't care is because, do you realize how many less people smoke in America over the last 20 years? And how many more people smoke in the rest of the world? Smoking has gone through the roof all over the planet.
Europe.
I wasn't aware of that change.
No, it's massive everywhere else but America. Some of Europe has gone down, but most of it's gone up. And
it was
all
massive.
of Asia smokes.
It was massive.
All of India smokes.
The 90s and the early 2000s were a big changing point. Like
when we talk about the government getting the taxes, I think we're all understanding that if it goes to the state rather than big government, I feel a little bit better about it. I feel like it's a little bit, it's at least a little bit better tracked, and you feel like you have a little bit better control depending on who's running your state. Because there's that whole thing in Minnesota recently with the fraud and the millions of dollars lost there. I'm more pissed about the $1 trillion lost from the Pentagon than I am of the little state things, because it's a lot more money.
Someone can fact check me on this, and I hope they do. Please fact check me. And I've heard this brought up, but like, hasn't the Pentagon, or haven't multiple of those 3-letter agencies, or a lot of parts of the government, like, very seldomly pass an audit?
It's like, if the Pentagon is never. Pentagon is never.
Right. Never. So if you're losing, and I know the 2001 September 11th thing is, touchy to some people, but that is obvious. Like, if a plane flies in the Pentagon, it's one of the most, like, and right before
you shouldn't have let that happen. First,
trillions of dollars go missing. No one just was able to just question the fact that anyway. Yes,
and I guarantee if that had gotten brought up and talked about, like, as much as currently the Charlie Kirk thing gets brought up, the same thing would have happened. They'd be like, "Oh, what? Oh, but you're not worried about the people that died in 9/11?" It's like, I am, but I'm also worried about the trillions of dollars.
Well, that's how easy propaganda is nowadays. If you start to
feel like there's
Israel,
a reason for it, that this disaster happened and then a bunch of money disappeared. Like, don't you think maybe you should look into both of those things, not just?
They be related?
It's so easy to do propaganda nowadays, because all you have to do is turn it back on the other person and go, oh, you're criticizing Israel because of whatever's happening here. Don't you know they're our ally? Are you anti-Semitic? It's all your fault because you asked a question. When really we should just be asking questions of not only all authority figures, but anybody who preaches something. Like, I hope people question us and go, hey, is this how you think about this? Whatever, in the comments. It's like, I welcome that, because it's like, you should be able to have the perception, be like, oh, you know what? That person has a better idea. Let's go with that. But if you're being called anti-Semitic just for criticizing Israel, or you're saying, oh, you're a 9/11 denier, Holocaust, whatever denier, it'd be just for asking the questions. I think that's kind of crazy. And that's how a lot of the
really,
media
from my perspective on most of the topics when we talk about the government or missing money or taxes or things like that, I just really care about where the money is going. I mean, if it's coming from the hardworking Americans and it's being given to people, why is it other countries, and then why do I not see, if it is being given for aid for other countries, why am I not seeing the benefit of our money to our own people anywhere? Like,
do you not have a
why is
heart,
only
Doug?
groceries are going up, health insurance is going up, everything's going up, and then we're sending money away to other countries? That's the part where I'm like, it doesn't make very much sense to me,
Dude,
and I think it doesn't to most people.
You're clearly a hateful white nationalist that hates everybody else for saying that. You are clearly, this is the kind of like propaganda that they would do.
And when I say our own people, I mean all Americans. There is no
Oh,
one
still,
specific group of people. It is anyone who has legal citizenship. And then people
he
will get
does
on my case for saying legal.
he does
Yeah.
not see how he's a national socialist. Just kidding.
I mean, it's the funny thing is the more you learn about it, it's like, oh, actually, the healthiest outlook is a slightly socialist and very nationalist outlook, and it's like, no, I don't hate anybody.
Well, I feel like
That
that's what a lot of
view.
the other countries do, and they're not hating their own
That's
citizens over
what
the same
almost
thing.
every other first world country in the world does. But
Mhm.
somehow we're
Because
evil for
yeah,
even talking about
they
it.
protect
And it,
their
Oh,
own
and
and their own workers, and then the money that
yeah.
their workers bring in.
say what you will about Trump, and he does all sorts of stuff that is not, his ego gets hurt and he goes after people, and it's just a ridiculous situation, right? However, there are a few good things that you can point out, and one of those things is like the EU and the United States and how much money we should give those countries to defend themselves. Help them, give them some money and help them arm themselves and then defend themselves. Like, if they really believe that Russia's gonna take Ukraine and keep pushing into Russia, or into Europe, if that's a real thing, then yeah, and those countries are doing that. Germany, Poland, a lot of those countries are arming up. And I think it's a far-fetched thing to say, oh, Germany's arming up, maybe they're going to try to take over the world again. I don't think that's a real thing. But if they really believe that, then have the EU get a little bit more portion GDP of their percentage of their GDP towards military stuff, so that we don't have to provide for them. And we're being a Team America World Police. Shout out to
Yeah,
South Park creators. What are their
and
names again? Amazing.
I
Sounds
forget,
great.
but I do have some concerns with studying history and researching during the fall of Rome how spread out the Roman armies were and how spread
Yeah.
out the entire thing was. And then looking at all the military bases we have all over the world, I can't know what's best for America, but I can see a rhythm of that history and us being just like all over the place, and because we're all over the place, we're more involved with every single little thing, making proxy wars, first off, a lot easier to do and run. Propaganda is a little bit easier to spread because you have issues with different countries all over the world that you can decide to put into the media to get people worried about.
Yeah. And that's the new phase of war, really. And proxy wars have been happening. I mean, I always think about it and I always bring it up, but one of the Rambo movies, I can't remember which one, but like they were doing that back then. I mean, we weren't alive. And I think it was the mid 80s, maybe. I can't remember. I think it was the second or third one where Rambo, and relating this to real life, is that we were in a proxy war with the Soviet Union for Afghanistan, and sometimes like a real life war, like special ops things. And that's been happening in the 80s, probably even before that, till now. And so we're arming separatist groups, whether it be this faction, the Shiites, the Sunnis, whatever you want to say. And I'm not that knowledgeable, that kind of stuff, those kind of modern war
The
things.
problem is it gets
But
so convoluted again, and we've been only given certain amounts of information. And then when you find out that our government has given money to random, armies out there, and then had to fight that
Random armies
army
that then
later
became
on.
the people that we call terrorist groups.
Yeah, like
well, I
that
mean,
part blows me away.
one of the more recent situations of whatever you think about Biden or that whole thing. I mean, maybe he could have done a better job. He certainly could have done a better job, and the people there.
On
But
that
like
note,
when
we
he
could
ordered,
all do a better job, but if you're running the U.S., damn, you
I'm
could
just
really
saying
do a
a
better
very specific situation here of taking taking all of the United States troops out of Afghanistan, and then all of those Black Hawks, all of those missile launchers, whatever tanks and APCs, they all were just taken by the Taliban. And did they all know how to drive them and do it? No, but I'm sure they learned, and now they have millions, if not billions of dollars worth of our equipment. And those are the terrorists that we were just talking about, right?
Yeah,
Or at least
yeah.
a lot of them were. And it's like now the Taliban's back in charge. We were there for 20 whatever years. And what changed? You know, like we're like it's just hard for me to reconcile things like Vietnam, even though we weren't alive for that either,
Yeah,
or
and
things
then I
like the war
think,
in the Middle East.
we're also citizens. So, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff we don't know about it. So I can definitely understand that there's reasons for this that are outside of me being able to know the details of. But a lot of it just seems like shady money deals, and then it
Totally.
becomes concerning of what the military is getting involved with, especially when
Mm-hmm.
winning a war and losing a war can make you money.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
both of those
It's
things can
been
make you
that way
money,
through history.
I have the right to be concerned if those two things are true.
Uh-huh. What were you
I
gonna say,
mean, you go
August?
all the way back. It's been that exact same way through history. Like the Crusades were the same damn thing. It was the church chasing money and power. Like it's the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over and over. And there's just you know
If they,
we're
but the
here
point,
watching it all happen again,
yeah, I
and
guess
there's
there,
not a lot you can do about it other than talk about it.
yeah, the way that
Right.
they can make it happen is they do have to have a certain amount of the populace in agreement. It's not,
Yep. That's the
it doesn't have to
propaganda.
be, it
Or at
doesn't
least
have to
make
be
it
everybody.
seem like you do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true. Is the propaganda could be so thick that like nobody agrees with it, but that's all they're hearing on the news is that a bunch
Oh,
of people
that's
agree with it.
what's happening right now. I mean, if you go out into the street and have real conversations with people, the world is actually a fairly friendly place. But if you look at the internet, everybody hates everybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
the
Yeah.
toxins get more clicks, and there's the clickbait is typically more negative and more aggressive.
We were talking about it on a former podcast. I can't remember if it was the last one or two episodes before about how that same idea, but applied to like the media of like how those kind of clicks or those kind of views, let's say for whatever newscast, that they focus on all the bad things, all the bad things. They might slip in a little good thing here or there, but it doesn't.
Right, yeah,
Human
we were
nature is
talking
to
about that.
find those different things. There's pattern recognition, and then they go, oh, look at all this like sensational. That person's so horrible that it makes people either feel better about themselves or really think about that deeply, and then they become more hateful. And I don't think that's socially responsible. I get it because we all succumb to it to some degree in our daily life. I think, but at the same time, it's like, why why can't they
I also
balance
think
it a little bit better?
I think it makes you buy shit too. I think there's another psyop layer here that is especially with seeing terrible negativity news and then having something that's sweet and nice at the very end and then hitting you with an ad for an antidepressant
yeah,
medication.
no,
I
that's
think
exactly what it is.
there's a breakdown
Yeah.
there that's fairly easy to understand, that there's not only the propaganda of trying to make you feel that like the world's a certain place, but you feel concerned enough to go buy something, to click a button, to have somebody make money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's 16 kids died in a bus crash. There was, 7 armed robberies and a school shooting. Oh, and look, a squirrel on a jet ski. And you know what? You can buy that jet ski for $17.99. Like
yeah.
that's actually what the news is most of the time. And it's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like less people watch the news in general at this point.
Oh,
Far more people are just getting their news through social media and through people.
for sure.
totally.
Anybody under 40 is
Yeah.
essentially does not watch the news anymore.
Yeah,
Like
not the
maybe they'll
mainstream.
read
Yeah,
some
that's true.
articles,
There's
but
an
most of
age
it's
thing too.
Instagram.
Well, they still probably call people that are over 40, 50-ish, like they still call it the mainstream news. It's not mainstream. Those are propaganda news networks that tell you how to think. And I'm
And
not
even
just saying this for the left. It's also for the right, and it's everywhere in between. There's
Well,
most of them, the
and
vast
that's
majority.
also all over YouTube too. Like
Right.
yeah,
you
in
can't
YouTube
get
I was
away
gonna
from it.
say,
You
and
have to be very specific about
Mhm.
finding news sources.
Yeah, be
and I'm not even
diligent
perfect
about
at it. I
finding
get
the.
caught all the time.
Yeah, you got to be diligent about finding the sources, and then just as soon as you start to trust a source, they get sold out, and you start
Yep.
feeling the propaganda coming from some of the sources. Because I've noticed that Instagram, the algorithm could not put a label on me, and so I was getting far left and far right
Totally.
narratives.
I
They're
still get that stuff.
they're
Yeah.
literally
Speaking
back
of which,
and forth on the same issues, saying negative
right.
things or positive things.
Right, we got that. And so, like, one of the things I do want to give a little shout out here to one the network with some more of a YouTube, and I think they have a Patreon. I can't remember exactly, but the Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. She leans a little left, he leans a little right. They come together. They agree on more than they disagree on, and they go, okay, this is a messed up thing. And he used to be, I think, a White House correspondent, so he's been an insider journalist type guy, and she has and Kyle Kalinske also, I think that's her partner. I can't remember. I don't know what's going on, but like I will give a shout out to those people because it doesn't matter if you're left or right to me as much as honest journalism, and I think that they try to do that, and they're not a big news corporation, and the fact that they also show that you don't have to have all the vitriol you or the polarization. You can have those two sides and have them come together and go, hey, we agree on way more than we disagree on. So I do occasionally watch Breaking Points. And do I think they get it right every single time? Absolutely not. Maybe I disagree with them as well, but I think that's far better than any mainstream legacy corporate news network.
Yeah.
Just saying. Shout out.
Yeah, it makes a difference if you have people who can sit together in the same room, and even if somebody views things the exact opposite way, be able to hold a conversation and be able to recognize that it's not the end of the world to be talking with the person.
Or to disagree, or to agree to disagree. And like, you don't have to try to convince the other person that your side is correct all the time, gung ho. Like, some people just need to be like, okay, maybe another time. And remaining open to different ideas, that's a huge thing too. We talked about before, and I think we will continue to. And it's just like, it's a big thing to not close yourself off to the world or to different possibilities or different perceptions, especially when it comes to world events or philosophy in general.
Yeah, and I have a lot of studying to do on when we talk about the government, specifically on where money goes and things like that. I wish I did have a better understanding of how all that trickles up,
You won't.
because
I mean, you can get an idea,
there's
but you
no
will never actually understand
I
it
know
because the people that do it don't understand it.
there's
Right.
no
That's
trickle
why all that
down.
money went missing.
There's no trickle down, but there's definitely trickle up. Everybody's
Oh
working
yeah.
and we're all making money,
It's not
and it's
trickle up,
going.
it's shovel up. It's
Yeah.
flood the top.
Yeah.
So
Like
I
it's
don't have enough money.
I was gonna bring up that point earlier. When we first started this, is I do think that there is some trickle down. It's just I was talking about this with my mom yesterday. Actually, is like there is some trickle down, but I think there was probably more in the '80s. So maybe he was more right back then, but there's not. It's like less and less. The stream is drying up. You know what I mean? Because people are becoming less moral, more selfish in
it
terms
was
of.
never a stream. It was always a garden hose that got shut off, and the last little drips are just
Right.
finally coming
Well,
out.
Yeah,
and the main point
and
to
I
me,
want to cut something off real quick. You seem to have a little bit of lag, Isaac. Is there anything you can close in the background on your phone just in case there's
I
something
don't.
else that's causing it?
I hear you guys just fine,
Yeah,
and I
no,
don't have
he
any.
and August is perfect as well. Like he
Always,
he
baby.
did. Well, I'm not like, well, you're perfect enough.
I
But he
mean, I'm an
doesn't.
interrupter,
But
but
he doesn't have any lag for how far away he is. So I was just bringing that up just in case there was
where's all
something
the
on
number?
flawless. That is
Oh, weird.
flawless. I'm not seeing the numbers. There was just
Oh yeah.
your lips were slightly behind your audio
Oh.
coming through.
Oh, okay. So what was I saying? That's
It didn't
right. The
matter.
garden
You know,
hose.
it didn't matter. Let's move on.
The garden hose thing. The garden hose thing. So
Oh,
like
the
when you
trickling
when you turn
down,
that off,
drying
right.
out.
It has to do with the people, like to your point about not only local government but actual individuals, like not giving from an empty cup. The people that have full cups that are overflowing and then are taking that water or money and investing it and moving on and building and stacking dollars and whatnot, they has to come from within them to give, to actually make a river or stream or even just a trickle down.
I don't even like the idea of give.
Yeah,
Create
create a
something so that other
platform.
people
Yeah.
can get up.
Right.
Giving is crazy because when you get things for free, you don't value them, you don't cherish them.
Totally. But I mean, like, say
if
for
it's free, you just fuck it away.
Yeah,
Totally.
I
For
do like there's
Costco,
the local clubs like the Rotary Club, Kiwanis. Unfortunately, there's not enough younger people getting involved with those clubs, but those clubs
At
are
all.
a perfect example of when the community did come together to give opportunities to others. Because I know that the Seroptimus has a scholarship program where they give scholarships to a lot of the younger people who don't have the opportunity to do that, and that's a
totally.
grassroots method of doing those sort of things.
The opportunity is a big one, and I think that's what a lot of government type people say, or even state wise, like the EEI thing. We're trying to create opportunity for people that maybe didn't have it. So I agree with that general idea, but not the idea of, especially in accordance to DEI, giving jobs or giving opportunities to people who are testing in a lesser way than the people who like not
Yeah,
like
your
if
actual
they, you know what I
skills.
mean,
Your
the
skills.
merits of the thing.
If both of your
Yeah,
skills are at the same level and someone's given an opportunity versus someone just
because they're
not doing a good job and the other person is definitely the person for the job and you're like, we're going to choose
right,
this person because
right,
they're inept but they
Yeah,
are more
right.
diverse.
that stuff
Mm.
increased. It actually incentivized discrimination.
Totally. And I
Like,
think that's
It was the
a
exact opposite of what it's trying to
what
do.
they
yes,
exactly. And I think that's a very good point. And it's just yeah, but it comes down to the merit. You can do DEI or more. Let's just say giving opportunities to people that are underprivileged or from disenfranchised areas, as you were saying, like the all those charities or the clubs or whatever. You can do that while also going merit based, right?
yep.
So
Yeah.
you can mix those things. There's a mixing of ideas, but I do think that it's maybe not give wasn't the right word I was saying for people, the rich people or giving, but like creating opportunities and paying people a fair wage. And this is not a socialist. This is not a Bernie Sanders thing. I agree with him on this
Well,
kind
it's
of thing.
not
If you can't, if you
paying someone their wages if or living wages is not a socialist thing.
right, exactly. It's
It
like if
should
you
just be
can't
what it is.
afford totally. If you can't afford to live off of $40 or 40 hours a week, some people will say, "Oh, maybe you should just get a second job or a third job or whatever." It's like, okay, but at the same time, if these jobs, like, I understand the argument of, oh, some of those jobs that are getting paid less aren't as coveted. Okay, but like the job scene changes, but it just seems like there's so many people that have to work 60, 70 hours a week and are just barely being able to make it. And it's like it's not a humanitarian nor is it a kind thing to say, oh, those people are just the bottom of the barrel, screw them, they're going to have to be working their whole lives, won't be able to afford to barely afford to live, their kids will never be able to get to the scholarships or the
Yeah.
you know what I mean, go to the best colleges, and that's not a fair thing, and not even just fair thing, that's not a nice thing, it's not a kind thing, and it's
Well,
like I
yeah.
understand. Yeah, go ahead.
So the way I look at it is like I agree that if you don't make enough money to live the way you want to, you should either get a different job, like get better, or move to a place where the job you do can afford that thing.
Yeah,
But I
I mean,
also believe that you should be able to live not necessarily the way you want to, but you should be able to comfortably live
Wherever that job
in
is.
anywhere, wherever that job is, without being destitute. And
right.
there are many people who work 40, 60, 80 hours a week and barely make it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
this is where the
that's crazy.
this is where the boomer comes in and goes, you just need to work harder, you just need to do this. It's like if you look at the statistics and you go for inflation, you actually adjust for inflation, it is at least 20, 30+% harder at least than it was back in the 60s or 70s. I mean, depending on the year and the
It's
time.
200% harder than it is in the
Yeah,
50s and 60s. Like,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
during this
the dollar
conversation
is
is
worth
getting harder.
nothing compared to what it was.
yeah, no, I agree with you, August. What did you say, Doug?
It is getting harder during this conversation.
The inflation and then
Yeah,
yeah.
the percentage
Well,
of difficulty is going up live right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
well, you have
Inflation's real.
these scandals and you have these things, and it's like obviously 2001 and all these wars don't happen or don't help at all when we're dedicating. And I'm not saying anti-war. I do think that we do need to fund the military and for home defense and all that kind of stuff. Or
Yeah, defense, not offense.
Yeah,
totally, I
yeah.
agree with that as well. And it's just the amount that we put towards things that to me don't make a whole lot of sense. when the roads are still as they are. And so this chick that I went on a date with, I was like, how many homeless people are there in this area? Because she works with the needy, I guess you'd say, or the unhoused, whatever you're going to say. And I was like 20, 30, 50. She's like, no, hundreds, if not 1,000. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's like I can almost guarantee that there's a lot of these people that are not just mentally challenged in one way or another, or have drug issues in one way or another, or they were driven to those things because of bad life experiences, not just through fault of their own, but through not being able to make enough money to even have a non-destitute life, non-homeless,
it doubles down
unhoused life.
For those people who have the unfair disadvantage. There's also, it's difficult for everybody right now, so I can't even imagine people in those situations, how you're supposed to get up and get out of it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is I really like people with kind hearts or compassion enough for people that didn't come from a place where we can all help people on a bit more of a daily basis in this way. It's like,
I'm a fan of the underdog. I always like the underdog story.
Yeah. I think that's a song by one of those alternative bands in the underdog. I think it was the Spoons or the Shins. Anyway. Yeah, no, I think a good underdog story or a good is much better than just like being born into something and living a lavish life. But did we have any did you have any topics, any three main points or anything that I should have made some before this one, but we'll definitely have some more moving forward.
I mean, because it's coming up on the new year, I know a lot of people talk about New Year's resolutions types of things.
No, bad.
Why?
Why? They're dumb.
Improving
Nobody ever
yourself
does them, and the people that
year?
don't talk about them, so they don't need to be talked about.
Well, I'm so confused. Why is that a subject?
Okay, New Year's resolutions are one of my pet peeve things. Like, it's actually a good way to get me to talk about it, but like, it's so dumb. Like, when's the last resolution that you were like, I'm gonna do this year, and you said that to like a big group of people, and then actually went and fucking did it?
Well, I did better at budgeting this year, and budgeting this next year was going to be another one of my New Year's resolutions, because you can still get better at it. And my New Year's resolution was to play my instruments more, and I have played my instruments more.
Hey, putting them behind you in the camera shot doesn't mean you're playing them.
Yeah, Doug.
No, but I have been playing them, so I have been making progress on some of the things I wanted to. And I mean, for this one, I want to do work.
But did you say these things to like a group of people? Like, these are my resolutions this year: to play my instruments more and to do better budgeting. Did you do that? No. You did that to yourself.
Yeah,
you made that resolution with yourself.
Yeah, typically
typically
my New Year's resolutions are for myself.
Okay, clearly August had a bad experience.
Talking about it to people is stupid.
I don't know where you got that. Yeah, but I don't think I've ever in my life gone to any group of people and said, I'm going to do this year.
Yeah,
like, I think it's more of an intrinsic.
What you're doing right now by bringing up and talking about, what are you doing your resolutions this year?
I guess.
I mean, we don't have to say New Year's resolutions. What are things you want to work on yourself, regardless of the new year? A lot of people are thinking about, people are trying to do things
I've had for a long time.
People are trying to work on themselves going into the new year. It could be any time of the year. We could do trying to work on yourself in the middle of the year. What are things that you want to work on
when it makes sense?
What are things that you want to work on moving forward? Forget about the new year if that triggers you.
Go from 10 minutes a day on the elliptical to 15. You know?
There you go. That's good. I like it.
Nice.
I did 20 minutes on
cardio.
I did 20 minutes on the stair stepper earlier. Oh, oops! I just messed it up.
We can still,
still hear it.
I did 20
glitch.
Okay, sorry. I did 20 minutes on the stair stepper earlier at level 9 at the gym.
Nice.
It was pretty hard. And then I did a few weights, but I also it's pretty similar to me. Is drink a little bit less. I mean, I don't drink a ton. I also don't drink hard alcohol. almost ever, and I don't buy it. But at the same time, just drink less in general in terms of ciders or beer or whatever, wine occasionally, in general, and then help me shape that way. But also same thing, up the like I was saying the couple days ago, the core here is a little more sore than I would regularly be in the last few years. So I need to work on the core a little bit more and just up the cardio as well. Just it'll help all cause mortality, help you live longer, help you think better. Just so
cardio
many.
is 1,000% my biggest thing. Like
Totally.
I'm plenty strong. I need cardio. Like,
Agree. Yeah. It's just good to work out in general, and I hope that people that whether it be playing video games or are sitting around
Especially
a
in the
lot,
winter,
being sedentary.
most people in the winter are doing a lot less of the cardio and the going doing shit.
And it's one thing if you feel sick or feel under the weather. That's one thing if you actually sick. But if you
should actually work out harder if you feel sick.
Right, but if you, well, I mean, if maybe at your house, I just don't want other people getting sick. But at the same time, it's like, but like it's just a good thing to do all around for sure, and it'll help not only the people around you, but yourself probably more so than that even. But yeah, for all the people out there that are sedentary in winter and other times, I mean, I get that winter can be cold, but I mean, you can still. I used to run outside all the time in winters, put some stuff on, even going for a walk. I wish we would go on some more hikes around here because we got some forests and.
Yeah, we got
even in the winter cold.
You have the best hiking in the country within an hour of you.
Wild.
Next, some of them
this year. That's gonna be my number one New Year's resolution.
Get out in nature.
It's, more hikes for sure. Because August is right. I mean, this is probably some of the best hiking in the country.
It is
within
the best hiking in the country.
Totally.
It's all
so
within
it's
an
like,
hour.
And some of the best air quality. So there's no reason not to, and it'll be not only good for mental health, physical health, everything.
Not just to the, but if you go to the Olympics, like not just the Cascades. The
Olympics are absolutely gorgeous.
The whole rainforest, super wet, but also rewarding. So. Totally.
Yeah, and I have a couple of them. I mean, I specifically want to work on when I do go to look at social media, searching and not opening up social media to just get the feed or the algorithm as it is.
Algorithm,
but only open it up if I have something that I'm interested in, that I want to focus some energy on. Because the endless scrolling and that sort of thing, your algorithm is built to get you interested. And so it ends up pulling you in for longer times than you would normally want to. I've succumbed to it a little bit more here in the last week than I normally do.
Especially you, Isaac.
Oh, dude, I do. I'm a social media goop hound. Although I don't ever use Facebook. I haven't used Facebook for years. I tried to take it offline in 2017, but Meta, because when they got bought, then it won't let me delete that. I just don't use it ever. I do use Instagram a lot because I like to watch burnt peanut videos. Shout out, or there's all sorts.
I'm on Facebook all the time for the memes, and I'm rarely ever on Instagram, except when you send me shit, and I'll look at it and be like, and then I'll like scroll once and be like, oh nope, close it.
Sucking me in. Yeah,
not always bad. I don't send.
Get out.
I know I can send the bad ones. I know I can send the bad ones to August, and I won't send the bad ones usually to Doug. But I
send some of the bad ones to Doug.
Yeah, that's nice. He needs a little bit.
But my feed has gotten too negative recently, so it's also just like world tragedies type of thing, like the
really
terrible news. You got to be aware, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm aware.
I watch them because I want to see I don't want to see like the actual destruction part, but I want to see if this is was that really an airstrike by this person to that person? I got to question this. But why is it showing you those things aside from people sending them to you?
And then
why would
also, as much as I want to donate money to some of these terrible causes, I've seen so many scams over the years of fake, like, send your money here to help out these people, and then it's just going to the people that are killing those people you're trying to help out. It's so hard for me to be able to trust in a lot of those scenarios, and so I get a lot of those videos too, and it's just like, it's a shame that there's not more trust in the world. I wish I could know these companies a little bit better and know what the money's going to, and then I wouldn't mind kicking, a couple bucks here and there wherever you can for all those types of causes.
It's why it's up to us to start a 501c3 and start moving the money ourselves. Like,
Yeah, that's the only
like
way.
if you actually do want to do something in that realm, that's how you do it properly.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do it.
Like,
That's the only way I'd feel safe with it, is that I was just putting the
Yeah.
money into the actual people's hands. Then I would feel safe
Right.
about it.
Totally.
Well, and
yeah.
I would actually not go with giving money like that. I would go like, okay,
Services
we
or
take this money
food
and
or
buy food crates and water
clothing,
and like
shoes and stuff
and
like
we,
that.
we you know
That's
there's a lot better ways to do it than here's some cash.
Yeah,
have
that's
fun.
because that could go
But-
so many wrong directions as well.
Yeah,
Once
Exactly.
it gets
Instead of
there,
just
it
giving.
can go into wrong hands.
Totally.
you
But
mean
there's
like it has everywhere in the world every time anybody's tried to do that?
right. But there's the other side of that. Instead of just giving money or giving whatever, like resources are probably a better way. But then there's always, or almost always, a counter movement that is in that same country or that same area that goes, no, we don't want them to have that rice. We don't want them to have these resources because we hate them, or they're not the right religion, or they're the wrong skin color, whatever it is. And so they'll take your rice and they'll take your stuff because they don't want the people to have it. And that is some evil stuff right there.
But I guess
with Adolf Hitler in power now, they'll be all right down in Africa.
Back.
I mean,
things that I want to improve is just the cognitive search for the things that you want to know about. So if you are curious about something, news that you've heard and those sort of things, dig into it on an actual grassroots, like figure it out. Look these things up rather than just get it from a mindless algorithm.
Right, and not just the Instagram or the Facebook or whatever social media,
multiple
Snapchat,
different sources.
Multiple different sources. Don't go to the regular corporate legacy media, or maybe use that as one of them. Maybe use ABC, MSNBC, Fox News, whatever. Maybe use that as one of them, whatever your thing is. But also look at all the other things. Go type it into YouTube, type it into Google, see all the sources. Maybe go down a page or however many search things there are. And that's just. And those are the ones that allow you to search for the thing. Like, you think that Google doesn't have some kind of vested interest with some of the companies that we have to allow some things on? I mean, I want like the most raw data, and it's kind of hard to come by that when data is the new gold, data is the new oil. So people that control those companies, by certain people or certain governments, and it's not just one. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of corrupt people out there, and there's a lot of corrupt people in power out there.
There's more than two.
I'm not gonna say it. Well, I already insinuated, but but again, it's not anti-Semitic. It's just criticizing people that do bad things or that do evil acts. Hey, I think they should be criticized.
Uncle Semitic.
Uncle Semitic. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, because he hates his wife.
Oh,
Uncle Semitic hates
interesting.
His wife.
I don't know. What is that from? Some. Oh, okay.
No,
it sounds hilarious,
and I believe it's hilarious.
It sounds hilarious. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, multiple sources. There's the budgeting again. I've done really well this year at consolidating a lot of debt, not creating as much debt. So my numbers are in a good place going into this year. But that's no reason to
Must be nice.
That's no reason to not put it under focus again. Going into
totally
the same sort of thing.
Always under focus.
And the reason that I guess it's more of a New Year's resolution is because your taxes, specifically, if I get on my budgeting at the very beginning of the year, then there's things that I can write off on my taxes towards the end of the year if I'm keeping a mind for it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but taxes aren't until April, bro.
No, I do my taxes at the very, very beginning of the year. And what's funny is there's all these people.
You operate a business, I'm aware.
Yeah, but there's also I mean my own personal taxes. I do those the very first opportunity I get the chance. But that's
so do we.
That's because of the fact that I mean there's a lot of people out there that are talking like we're not going to do our taxes this year, and I'm like I don't know who the fuck you are. I get money back during taxes. It's not like I'm paying taxes
we almost always pay.
Really?
Because they've been taking money from me all year, and so I get money back at the beginning of the year every year. Now, why would you?
We are on that threshold, so like we're above the low bracket, but below the higher bracket, and so like
oh my gosh,
they don't take quite enough, so we get fucked.
That's yeah, and
That makes sense.
I've heard that the middle bracket is
Middle gets fucked. It's so
the
dumb.
hardest.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And
Like we're better than low. We're not high enough to get that break, so we're fucked.
what the fuck? That's messed up. But yeah, it does feel that way. It does feel like majority of the money is coming from the middle class right now. I'd have to see what the chart is, but it does feel that way.
I can't remember the statistics, so maybe somebody can look it up. I don't know if you guys or whoever is in the likes and subscribe, put it in the comments, smash that like button. Just destroy the comments for me, please. But also, like, I think it's like 40% or 45% of all taxes, somewhere in that 40 to 50 range, is by people that make the top 10% earners in the United States. So there is a large percentage of the taxes, maybe even the majority of taxes are paid by the top 10%. But
that amounts to 1% of their wealth.
Yes.
Right. Agreed.
Okay. So it is the highest. The 0.1 or the 1% pays the highest in taxes. They still do.
But to my point, I was just going to say is it's so much disproportionate. They barely feel that, or they see it on paper as a number. They're like, oh my gosh, this is 40 or 50% of my money. But like, it doesn't affect their lives in a way that is like, I can't take care of my kids or my family.
Right.
You know
maybe that's,
I can only buy
part.
2 super yachts this year.
Well, yeah, that's the part that feels. I guess that's the part that feels unfair is that all of the middle class is getting charged more, and so regardless of what those taxes are, it feels like a knife in the side while you're trying to continue paying for everything.
If we had a great healthcare system, let's say, well, let's use one government as Israel. If we could say Israel, or even a lot of Northern European countries, if we could have a really nice healthcare system like that, or if we could have like way more general transportation options for cheap,
we talked about it.
Healthy roads.
We talked about it with planned obsolescence. The profit being the biggest motive that should have just never gotten into our health system. That's just, I feel like the part that's made it to where the people that are profit driven shouldn't be the ones that are in charge of keeping people healthy. It doesn't help with our food. It doesn't help with our farmers. It doesn't help with our insurance. It literally doesn't help with anybody.
Well, I was talking about this last night as well. So when you have the executives of these organizations that worked for, let's say, I'll not say any pharmaceutical company or any kind of weapons manufacturer or whatever, and then they go to work for the government in a very similar sector or even in any sector for that matter, and they're voting
to see how much money goes to that area. Yeah,
how is that not a conflict of interest, and how is that not something that well, that's what I'm saying is that should be called out, as to Doug's point as well. And it doesn't make any sense. It's not socially responsible. It is just about the money, and it doesn't make any sense that is allowed to happen. But
because everybody in the positions to properly call it out also gets the kickback from it. So
right.
You're fighting an uphill battle, and
anybody
like us, if we were to go like, oh well, then let's run for government so we can change it. If you are uncorruptible, you don't get in. You're not part of the group, and so
to all the people. Yeah, to all the people that out there that do trust in the government right now, I'm not saying that I don't entirely distrust the government. I bet there are good people in the government.
There are places. There are some places, and I do believe that there are good people out there making good decisions.
Okay, yes. But to August's point, maybe. Maybe. But to August's point, I do believe more often than not, once you get to that level of thing, once you get to that level of power, the uncorruptible thing, you have to vote along these party lines, or you're not going to be in the club. You're not going to be the boys and girls club of the government if you don't do that.
Paul and Rand Paul, they're still there, kind of, but
yeah.
They don't get anything done.
Well, they don't get the same push.
Really.
They don't get the same push because, again, the funding does push those narratives and those specific what their outcome wants to be. And so if you're not in the red or the blue, then those billionaires who are pushing money into your campaign to get those things done, they're not as focused on the other people.
Totally. It does sound like the way that all of us are thinking along certain similar lines is that we either need to take the money out of politics or give incentive to people to be more socially responsible. I don't know what that looks like, but if they were able to give the incentive.
August last time said a percentage of what you make in the stock market or whatever that those kickbacks you were getting goes to your state directly, and then more money would be put towards the people rather than just in one person's wallet. In which case you could still
Right.
make more money, but you were held to a certain responsibility to the people that you're saying
Yeah.
that you're
Uh,
back. Like, I
totally.
stand for these people, but I'm pocketing all of the extra money while I
And
do this
I
job.
I also find it curious that a lot of these people, switching just slightly but still connected to the same subject, that a lot of these people, whether it be embezzling or money, or a lot of people who are rich or powerful or influential, celebrities, whatever, can get away with far more. Not only because they have good lawyers, but because they are of the stature that they are. They have the money, they have the influence, they have that power to do something. So all they have to do is a slap on the wrist, an apology, and they could get away with something that would land somebody else 5 or 10 years in jail.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. I mean, if we're trying to be judicious, as it were, and like discerning and honorable
Does
about
this
how
sound
we go
fair
about
to
these
you?
things, why has that, like, the way that these rich and powerful people get away with these things far more often? And I'm not saying they get away, they get found out and they get charged and then they get dropped or whatever.
Yeah,
When
and then they get
somebody,
lawyered out of it.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's
it's
like,
the lawyers are the biggest thing. Is they have the
And it's
ability.
not even the
yeah,
lawyers; it is the lawmakers, because the laws were designed in a way that there's always a loophole if you know how to find it. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of these dudes who've gone to prison and studied law came out amazing lawyers because they found all the loopholes.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah, there will almost always be loopholes in one form or another in
no, there
most
doesn't have
things
to be
that
though. The way
you can
legalese works,
shore it
you
up.
can write it so specifically
Mm.
that it actually limits everything. But they
Mhm.
write it in a way where it seems like it limits everything, but there's always a gray area. There's always a way
That's
to snake through it.
totally, and that's the hard
And
part. Well, keep going.
it
Yeah.
doesn't even seem like English. Like, I don't know if you've ever read like
Black's Law.
law. It's so like thick. It's like trying to read and enjoy the Silmarillion. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, you're like, what does this mean? Yeah, it is pretty crazy in that way. Yeah, I think that there are probably there's that reason, and there's different reasons that they leave it a little bit more into interpretation. But that's the part that I grapple with in my mind, and I don't know enough about. I need to educate myself more upon this. But the fact that people are there to interpret law in certain situations, to me, reminds me of somebody interpreting like scripture in another way,
Yeah.
right? So
And it
law
shouldn't be
is
interpretable. It should
right,
mean what it means.
very specific. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's like, but let's go back to scripture before we go back to the law. Like, if you interpret it, that's why there's so many denominations, right? That's why there's so many different sects of religion, of
Yeah,
Christianity, of
damn
all the.
Lutherans.
Hey, they're starting to grow on me. Anyway, anyway, that's the thing, is that, like, how they interpret, how the priests or the pastors or whatever interpret those scriptures, or
Oh, goddamn
is
Protestants.
how they
I got you.
well, that's one of the Protestant things. It is what it is. But I mean, they do the same thing in some different things of Catholicism or Orthodox, whatever. But the same thing with let's say judges, or higher up judges, commissioners, whatever you want to say. They interpret the law in their way and their own personal. And this is what really messes with me. If every human is fallible, every police officer, every judge, everyone makes mistakes, right? We're not Jesus Christ. We're not some divine beings. I mean, to some degree, but like, we all make mistakes, right? So if
We're
those
all
people are in those
divine
positions,
beings.
And we all have our
it's
moments.
like maybe you're good at interpreting it. Maybe you have to take a test, but who the hell are judges and people like that are getting to those powerful positions,
People who have
taking tests
proven
too?
themselves.
Yes,
And
and
do those people have to be
forever.
do those people have to be 70 years old? Do those people have to have a certain amount of experience? Because
No,
that
and I actually think
experience,
that they shouldn't be, but
it's like, there's different strokes for different folks, right? And that's a very cheap way of saying that in our time, or in, let's say, in people that are younger than us time, people who was born, and we've talked about this quite a bit in terms of differences between ages and society. Somebody that's 20 years old now is very hard to relate to someone who is 80 years old now, not just because of the age range. It's because of the time that we're living in. You're talking about people that were around in the World War II almost, or like the 50s or 60s, and older than that, and then people that have been raised with AI. That is a dramatic change, more so than I
Yeah.
think that almost any other time in history. So it's like, how are these people that are, let's say, 70 years old giving tests to judges or whatever academy or school they go to? I need to learn more about that. Like and subscribe, smash it. Please let us know how those people come to the getting the robe and all that stuff.
Depending on what the court cases are about as well, there could
Right.
be such
Oh,
a
totally.
vast difference. And then if all of
Totally.
your jury is people who know nothing about, the newer times and things with, like, if there was a case that involved AI even, and you have younger people that are there being held accountable for something that the jury and the judge know nothing about and don't understand that it's something that's out of their control.
In general, I think the jury system is pretty great, but I think Doug and I've talked about this a long time ago, months ago at least, is I don't think it's out of the question in the future to like have a really advanced AI in the courtroom, whether it be listening to the inflection, listening to the evidence, listening to all that, and a 12-man or woman jury, or however you identify, plus the AI having like its own outcome along with said judge or multiple judges, because judges disagree all the time as well about how you interpret the law, and you
I
have
mean,
people, regular
if
civilians,
anything,
also.
again, I'm not willing to put AI in the definitive choosing control
Well, that's what I'm
seat.
saying. Is it
I
let's
but
give them a third or a
if it
quarter.
was a tool, if it was in the center of the table while the 12 jury were discussing the argument
Yeah,
and
so you're
bouncing it
talking
off,
about using AI as like a stenographer.
that would
Yes,
be all right.
My issue with that though is AI is fallible. Like, so is a court stenographer. But
right now. Yeah,
No, but alongside the
it's always gonna
stenographer,
be.
alongside of the stenographer, I mean, essentially the
yeah.
AI
Right,
would
and as
have
long
the
as you can
trans.
compare the notes of the stenographer and the AI, I'd
Right,
have some. But
Right.
that's
like
it.
even then, you're just gonna have six AIs all checking each other, and then one human checking all six AI. Like
Well, I
it's
mean, what are we doing with the court system? We have jurors, and if not all of them agree, then that person gets off on whatever charge, or they get freed because they deserve to get freed,
Yeah,
because that's 12 people, and all of those people are fallible. The judge is fallible, even though they went to school or did their academy thing to interpret law, and I'm sure they're decent at that. That's why they have that. But at the same time, it's like
most
I
of what
think
they
there
went
should
to
be
school for was to be able to pick people for the jury.
right. Oh, really? Really
But yeah,
interesting.
future.
Didn't know that, but I do think that in the future we're not there yet. To what you're saying, Alex, I don't think we're there yet, and they do AI to hallucinate a lot,
there
and
might
there's
be
a
an
long
AI.
way to go.
There might be an
But
AI that's out there that we don't have access to that is
yeah,
at that level. Yeah, so we
right.
might be there. We
But
just don't know it.
right, you feed evidence into this machine, not only just like how the people talk in the courtroom, whether they be nervous or whatever, and they have all the evidence and they do their own job of what they think might be not only guilty or not guilty and what the punishment should be or not be, along with the jury and along with the judge and along with the whole scenario that's going on. I think that's in the future, but I don't like the fact that you have 12 people and what seems like could be a wrong or right thing, and the judge even let's say that they're better at deciding than for the sake of argument, they're better in general at deciding what is right or wrong and an interpretation of law. That's still fallible. So I think that having all those elements there is still a better outcome on average than just having the jury or just
Right,
having the
right.
judge
I feel
or
like
the two.
basically you're getting at adding one more layer of
Yeah,
going over the evidence, which I'm of course not opposed to. It's
yeah,
getting rid of that what I would be opposed to because humans are already fallible and the judge is already
right,
fallible. So if you're taking
right,
away
yeah.
anything or just giving more power to one, I have a problem with that. But
And
adding
really,
another
like
thing that you could base it off of, there's no problem with adding.
there needs to be justice in our society. I think we can all agree on that. Some form of justice, and people need to be held to accountability and responsibility, especially for heinous acts. However, if you get that wrong, you're punishing someone to some lesser degree or more degree or whatever for doing something that they didn't
Yeah,
do
and
or doing something that the evidence doesn't point to.
Yeah, and
and
then the
then
taxpayers end up paying for it.
right, and it's and there's protection for judges and there's protection for policemen for these sort of situations for when something does happen. And I know because we're saying everybody's fallible that there is an understanding that if you're doing that all day every day, you're gonna fuck up sometimes. And so there does
I mean,
I am okay with some of that protection, but that is also dangerous. So
I
I
mean,
think we can
I'd be
all
the first.
understand that would be that is
Totally.
dangerous.
Totally. I'd be the first to admit if I'm a cop, if I was a cop, put myself in their shoes for a second. My hands on my gun when I approach that blacked out window, knowing that person was driving radically, not knowing if that person is going to draw a gun. I don't know if that's policy, but I mean, I don't want my wife and kids to be sad because I got shot on the job of duty because this person's waiting with a gun behind a tinted window. Oh my goodness. God bless them.
Or
And
because
like,
I
when they say it's
wasn't
a thankless
alert.
job, I get it.
Yeah.
But my Lord, like that, I couldn't even imagine. And even for all first responders in general, I think that's one of the top
respect for
line.
first responders,
Totally,
police
totally.
officers, firefighters going into those dangerous situations on
Right.
behalf
I
of
mean,
everyday
mass respect
citizens.
for firefighters, but police officers. I mean, I respect them, yes, but there's a definite gray area in policing that I believe the incentive to become a police officer needs to be much larger, and
Totally.
then the scrutiny of who actually becomes an officer needs to be much higher.
Totally. Which,
Because
yeah.
people are getting in and they power trip. And I mean, it's happened throughout history, of course. Anybody who wanted to, run everybody else was kind of power tripping a little bit. But like
Yeah.
there are better people for that job, but
They
there's
don't want to do it.
incentives not there. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. The reason I don't want to do it, I don't want to put on a bulletproof vest to go to work. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
The same reason my dad, when he was younger, he didn't become a firefighter until he was older, because when he had the opportunity, it was down in Sacramento, and he's like, "Oh wait, you guys wear bulletproof vests as firefighters?" They're like, "Oh yeah. And he's like,
Wow.
"Well, then I'm not doing that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That firefighters have to wear bulletproof vests. That's nuts."
That's
Yeah.
intense.
And that is, I mean, I totally agree. I think that a lot of people who can get into that power position and they do trip on power, and whether they know it or not, subconsciously, I think a lot of people in the police do that. And I think that there's more good people than there are bad in that.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's even a few of the ones that slip through the cracks make huge ramifications upon not only
I
the
mean, we
department
talked
but
about this.
themselves.
If it what is it? If it bleeds, it leads. Was the statement I think was said last time we had this
Yeah.
conversation. The
Yeah,
negative stuff gets more
and a bad
traction.
apple can spoil the whole bunch. It's kind of both of those things. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Again,
But
fixing it is such a much more
yeah.
in-depth conversation that I have ideas about, but none of them are fleshed out. None of them are walked through. Like it's
No, for this
it's
one,
an
this is
almost impossible situation.
it is because
Almost.
we also talk about that protection for when someone has made a mistake. Is we also have the police officers and the firefighters. They want to protect their fellow officer if they have made a mistake as well, as you would in any work family environment, as well as
Totally.
that if you made a mistake, you would be hit with that same sort of scrutiny
Yeah.
of whatever's being dealt with there. And this
Totally. And I
person
get
risks their
that.
life every single fucking day, and then they slip up
Totally.
one time in 10 years, and you're like, wow, this looks really bad, but I still have to err on the side of this person has saved way more lives than the mistake that was made. Of
And
course,
I think that they
that's
do. If
all
you have a
vague and out of context, of course, but it's sort of the idea of why why I have so much respect for people in those lines of work.
I think in different departments do that. I think that when they weigh an option, I'd say this person has had a clean record of what they've done as a police officer for 10 years or however, 5 years even. And then they've done an immaculate, amazing job for the most of that time. And so they slip up one time. And as long as it doesn't cost someone some of their life or something really heinous like that, I think that they do weigh those. That would be a reasonable thing for me to think.
All you hear in the news clip article afterwards is so and so did this, and then they only get a
the
vacation
negativity,
for a couple of weeks.
that negativity.
Like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
that? So there's a lot of negativity on those sort of things of, oh, they only got off with a slap on the wrist, and you're like, dude, that person's been working there for 30 years. Like, you're literally hearing zero of the story.
Right. And to August's point earlier, I mean, only one of those professions, whether it be paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, and policemen, only one of them puts people in handcuffs. Only one of them forcibly makes somebody go. And
Detains
bad
people.
guys, bad women do need to be held accountable for their actions, and they do need to be responsible for that. However, even 1 out of 100 of those people, I mean, getting arrested is one thing, but actually getting charged and going through the whole thing, if you weren't really part of that situation, you got to really make sure that person is not is not just caught up in something that they didn't even know anything about, that you're sending them to jail now. Like, we were talking about this before, whether it be with in previous episodes about weed and the legalization of weed. And I talked about it with this girl from up north a couple nights ago. The fact that like some people can smoke a joint and go to jail for 5 years still in almost 2026 is, I don't care about what those people's religious or their morality, whatever they think is right as they make the laws. That's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if they've never done it
But
before,
those
good on
jazz
them.
cigarettes will get you.
Yeah,
Bro.
well, it's the combination of
Bro.
the connection of jazz cigarettes to vicious, violent crimes. It's like
Oh,
Right.
if you
Reefer
if
Madness is one of the best bits of
I mean,
propaganda I've ever
if
seen.
you look at that versus alcohol, and then you're like, okay, that person's going to jail for smoking a joint, then you're like, oh my gosh,
It's
this is
all
fucking
about
wild.
the money. It's
Yeah,
all
right.
about the
It's
money,
whoever can
obviously.
make the money off of it.
But do we have any other questions aside from the New Year's thing? You did one earlier. That was good.
I
I
mean,
think.
that was an ad lib, was the New Year's
Okay.
thing, because I mean I have
That's good.
the budgeting I definitely want to do, and again, it's the more the New Year's is more it's on other people's minds. People tend to want to get on their goals going into the new year. So yeah, there's a bunch
Totally.
of shit talkers, and there's a bunch of people who say they're going to do things and don't do them. August, I get that,
That's
but
true.
that's going to
You
happen
mean
even.
everybody?
That's going to happen
That's
in the
true.
middle of the year.
That's
That's going to
true.
happen at any fucking point in time.
It
I'm
is
using
everybody.
it as a clear-headed, we're going into a new year. What are things that you look forward to? What are
Well,
some things you want to do this year
okay,
that are
I
different?
can talk about that, but talking about resolutions
Right.
is
Right. Right.
just so
Yeah.
silly to me
Yeah.
because
Well,
nobody
yeah.
does them. People bring them up and then never follow through. Now,
Some
you
people
might
do.
follow through on
Some
other
people do.
things that you didn't bring up, but then either make the resolution something you can actually do.
Yeah.
Just don't freaking
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about it and do it
Right.
in
Right.
here.
Totally. Oh, you know what? I'll come up with because I'm really into space, aliens, whatever. Alien, obviously, tons of
Speculation.
No,
speculation. A word,
speculation.
speculation. But speculization can be worse.
Speculization.
Yeah, whatever. You got it. But like, aside from the alien stuff, the astronomy thing is really interesting to me. Just NASA, the Europa Clipper missions, like the Juno, JAXA, all these agencies and all the missions that are happening. And it just seems like to me not that many people are interested in it, because I understand people want to fix the planet first, and we absolutely should do all those things. But we can also dedicate at least some resources towards exploring and learning more about the far out cosmos, not
Yeah, I mean,
just
as
staying in
long
our
as
own
it's
environment.
not like we need to get off of this rock because we're fucking it up so bad we need an escape
I
plan.
mean,
It should be. It
that's
should be.
also true.
We should put money into, obviously some of the space stuff, because if a meteorite that we weren't able to prevent
Yeah.
was crashing into the Earth,
Well,
saving the human
I
race,
think about it.
that might be
I think about
an
what.
okay.
Yeah, I agree, and to that, to some degree, and slightly off that point, but it is similar as well. Is some, if you talk about like war, especially like World War II, or even wars about history, some of the greatest inventions and things that have ultimately benefited civilians and society as a whole, many societies, are things that came from people trying to be more ingenious and more innovative about war. So I think about that in the space race the same way they do about the wars. It's a little bit less destructive most of the time, but if we get water reclaimers, if we get these things that we can survive self-sustainable on the moon or the Mars or whatever, it's not like we can't use that technology at home as well to make sure
Right,
that the
right. That's
planet is
fair.
better. So
That's
it's
fair.
both.
The
I think it's
technology
a
can be used.
trade-off there. Yeah, totally. And that is another reason why I think it's a big important game to do those things. So in space especially. What else we got? We got any trending?
I mean, I would still rather like help the people here before we start
Right.
worrying about
I think
space. But
vast majority of people would agree with you on that. I think we can do both. I mean, look at it.
but
If
we
we're
got
gonna,
to do one before we can do both.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that if we're sending all this money to these other countries, that we can take most of that money, fix the roads, fix the healthcare system, help people that need the
Yes,
help,
that's exactly what I'm
defend our
saying. Though we
borders,
have to do
and
something before we
right,
can do both of them. We're not doing any of it right now. We're
right. Well,
just
I mean,
shoveling money into places where it shouldn't be.
right. Well, they have a lot less funding for NASA, and then you have SpaceX and these other with the Jeff Bezos's Blue Sky or
Well,
Blue
That's
Origin.
all
Um,
still into the same
And then
problem.
I do have,
NASA is
trending in my field is that RAM prices are going through the roof because the main
Oh
three
yeah, yeah.
manufacturers of RAM are no longer going to be making RAM for the consumer market. And there's been some
Mm-hmm.
rumors that Asus was going to get into building RAM. It is just a rumor. Asus is apparently not getting into making RAM. So the
Wow.
prices are going to continue going up for the moment until I hear anything else.
Jeez. And that's not just for gamers. That's for everybody that needs
That's
a high
apparent. There, I
capacity.
mean, I don't know how it's going to affect the market, but there's talk that even cell phones and other stuff, that the amount of RAM that's in them is going to start going down.
And honestly, logically, that doesn't make any sense to me because I understand the RAM thing. Not
It's just how
something
much money
that
they can make selling it to AI databases
right.
and to AI.
Exactly.
Like
So
that's
again,
all it is.
more corruption. It's not a logistical error. It's a they want to make more money off of this because they're going to produce less, or they could produce more, but they're not going to because of one reason or another, which is probably bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
somebody can
there's
call me out on that, like and subscribe, comments, but
yeah, and
it
then
doesn't make a whole lot of sense in our age,
I
you
guess
know.
it would be kind of a conspiracy to think this way, but it's not too far off. Is a lot of the different manufacturers or builders of software are starting to sell their software as a service rather than as a tool. Like back
Mm,
in the day, you used to buy that
right.
software as a tool one time, you own it, and now they renting it to you repeatedly. So what's to say that that
Right.
couldn't happen on the hardware side? Is you get a phone, it only has 4 gigs of RAM, but it's connected to an AI that can act like 12 gigs of RAM. And so your phone's super
Mhm.
responsive and super fast, but you're paying a subscription to whatever AI company database that's in your local area or on the other side of the world that you're able to connect to that speed elsewhere.
The whole subscription. I mean, I'm not against subscriptions in general, but the whole subscription based thing that they're exploiting people to such a ridiculous degree. Like not just streaming services, but like it's just we did talk about this in one of the first ones we did, I think, or podcasts we did, I think, or a few episodes ago. Is like when they, especially when they target kids with like, let's say, I think I was what I referenced, like Fruit Ninja or like Angry Birds or something like that, and then they're like, oh, do you want to buy this gold banana or do you want to buy this different kind of special bird for the thing? And it's like you're targeting 7-year-olds or 10-year-olds or whatever with ads before they even like get to. That is
Yeah,
ridiculous. They're
that's triggering
indoctrinating them into a
dopamine.
system.
Yeah, no, triggering dopamine
Yeah,
and getting a quick fix. Press a button, get some dopamine, and then on
yeah.
the services, the selling tools as a service is it's just fucked up because it's just like if you bought a shovel and then you had to pay for that shovel every month, even if you weren't using that shovel.
Yeah. Well, that's the
But
thing
it's
about the car.
also it ruined video games very quickly.
Yeah.
Specifically, Star Wars Galaxies was one of my favorite massive online player games. It was a Star Wars based one, and it was doing really well, but it was before the subscription based online MMOs. And so once Sony figured out that they weren't going to pull in any more money and these new versions of games were coming out and they were getting paid monthly, they pretty much killed the game. They updated it
Yeah.
with an update that made it not a good game anymore. They pretty much changed all the mechanics of the game, and everybody who loved it for all the reasons, there were no more reasons anymore, and everybody had to leave. And then they
Ugh.
came out with a Star Wars
Ugh.
subscription game not too
Yep.
long after that.
God,
And then
I really.
all the other MMOs came out at that same time, all the big ones.
I I hope they don't destroy our creators with this stuff because I really enjoy that game. One of the first games I've enjoyed aside from like EAFC, and like
Right.
very
If they
seldom do
add
I
loot
enjoy games.
boxes and they add
Oh my.
pay to
Please no.
win stuff, then it could get
Right.
ugly really fast.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope they keep. Yeah.
I mean,
The
they've stated that they're not going to do anything like that. But
good. Good. Yeah.
Money.
We'll see.
Follow the
We'll
money.
see if the money is. Yeah.
I
I
hope
want the biotech, personalized biotech thing. I think that whether it be CRISPR gene editing or, and not just with like children or childbirth, I think you could literally help change your, maybe not your genes, but like kill cancer, do amazing things, bring back eyesight, stuff like that. I think things that nerve connections, maybe even. There's a lot of those things that are going to be starting to be tackled sooner
people
rather than
immune to
later.
AIDS. Oh wait, they already did that.
I mean,
Did did.
What was
They,
the
they,
what was
they
the
literally they made 2 kids that are immune to AIDS.
Oh, dude, the world's going to change so much in the next 10 to 20 years. I think people are that. This is just
Yeah,
my
no,
opinion,
it's
of
gonna be
course, but I
wild.
think it's dramatically changed that
I
people
mean, as long
don't
as we don't
understand.
blow ourselves up just like every year.